What is a clear sign of you getting older? Let me know in the comments below. 10 years ago feels like 2 years ago. I saw this somewhere yesterday. You live your 30s just like your 20s until the injury. When you are asked your birthday online and you realize how much you have to scroll to get to your birth year, you don't dare leave the house without peeing. Media, songs, movies, games you grew up with start being referred to as classics. When they tear down a building that you remember getting built. I used to use the pull-up bar to make my arms big. I now use the pull-up bar to decompress my spine. I found myself just wandering around the aisles of Lowe's, not looking for anything in particular, and had a moment of self-clarity. I'm old. I had a painter over, 19 years old, that kept referring to me as Sir. 58 meters. Where do I start? 30s. Didn't brush off that wipeout on my bike like I did in my 20s.40s. Had to stop eating like I was 20. Visits to my family physician became much more frequent. 50s. Takes much longer to get out of bed. Back and joints ache continually. As I approach my 60s. My friend and family pool is getting smaller as they start to pass on. Spend more time reminiscing about the past than looking to the future. Life goes by quick. Don't waste it. You hear all types of pops and clicks in your body. If anyone asks me to do anything after 8 p.m., the chances of me going are slim. And the chances are even slimmer if I've already put on sweatpants. Ooh, I like their cabinetry while watching an exciting action movie. When I watched professional sports and all the players looked like children. Baseball, football, tennis too, etc. Valuing your sleep and at least trying to follow a decent sleep schedule. You start getting wisdom moments. Understanding why things happened and had to. Being more compassionate towards mistakes of others because you're shitty yourself and you know it. Making noises when sitting up and down. That 2 decades ago is no longer the 1990s. Is a weird age. Everyone older says you're so young. Everyone younger thinks you're so old. You often prefer a light dish to fried food because the latter is indeed tastier. But it's not worth the trouble. When you've seen multiple decades of fashion trends come back into play with the young crowd. So, here are a few positive signs of aging. You recognize something as a dumb idea before you do it. You handle your own shit, clean up your own mess, rather than leaving it for someone else to deal with. Your immediate desire or impulse doesn't obscure every other factor when making an important decision. There are more. But you get the idea. Shrek was released 21 years ago. Having no idea what the latest trends are in pop culture, and not caring either. You have a serious and in-depth conversation with your friends about decent lawnmowers, weed killer, vacuum cleaners, grimace flushed, people in positions of power being younger than you. Haven't gone to a wedding in a very long time. Have gone to a few funerals though. Sad face. Every movie I've gone to, pre-pandemic and now, starts before 7 p.m. I don't want to set foot in a nightclub ever again. You are more aware of others wasting their time. The feeling of not waking up hungover sounds better to you than a night of partying. Intolerance for loud noise. The older I get, the less I can stand it. I used to sneak out of home to go to parties. Now I sneak out of parties to go home. I don't care about how I look without makeup anymore. You say to yourself, it's the end of January already. ? Quote. Kids born in 2010 are turning 12 this year. Peer pressure is fucking stupid. What are you gonna do? Not let me sit at the cool kids table in the cafeteria of the eternal high school you reside in? I don't recognize popular music artists now. You find teenagers irritating. Back pain. Hair growing in places where hair shouldn't be. You don't understand the purpose of TikTok and take advantage of any opportunity to let others know that. When the checkout girl at the local drug mart gave me a discount and I asked why the discount and she said seniors discount. I was maybe 57 at the time. I didn't know whether to be outraged or happy about getting a few bucks off. Not drinking because you can't risk a hangover, which lasts longer than one day. You no longer call your knees left and right, but good and bad. I sneezed the other week and threw my back out. Dad jokes are getting funnier. When you stop going back to bed after getting up at night to pee, and just put the coffee on. And more things annoy me. Roughly 80% of the musical guests on SNL I have never heard of. Time going by faster. It takes twice as long to look half as good. I get excited when I buy a new kitchen utensil or some other house-related thing. Napping more often. I genuinely get excited about going grocery shopping, doing my laundry, cleaning my bathroom, etc. I've learned to enjoy taking some time to run errands or chores because it actually expels a lot of my nervous energy that come with the uncertainties of getting older. Teacher here. We had a cold snap and they canceled school. I muttered. I remember when I went to school we'd go if it was snow. Then I realized I have become the people who walked 15 miles to school in a blizzard up a hill. Either hair falling or turning gray. When you start to notice that your parents were right, time passes by so incredibly fast. Remember that delicious pizza you ate yesterday? Nope. That was 1.5 months ago. I went to a very young section of my city yesterday and they just pissed me off. I wasn't jealous of the fun they were having, I was just mad they were there. I can't even explain it. I know I went to the same places a decade ago. I did the same things, but for some reason seeing them just made my 33-year-old bones ache. I joked with my wife later, it's interesting to feel myself become the old man yells at cloud meme. You realize that nothing is so underrated as a fresh bed. Fewer spontaneous erections. Always tired, and waking up sore every morning. Little injuries and knocks used to disappear after a day or two. Now they don't disappear at all. You just start collecting reminders that your warranty has run out and you have to start doing preventative maintenance. When the person cutting my hair said, "You want me to clean up those eyebrows?" Ask Reddit becomes a rotating cycle of the same damn questions over and over and over and over. Might be too late, but the biggest one for me is realizing and recognizing that my parents are getting older. For my childhood, they were these static, never-changing figures. But now, they're older and I can see that. It's definitely pretty saddening and worrying. Referring to people under 30 as kids. I caught myself saying, "He was just a kid," about Anton Yelchin recently even though he was 27. Also my knees sounding like bubble wrap when I kneel down. You turn down the radio to see better. I'm 83. When I was 18 I thought I would live forever, now I am afraid that I will. The older I get the younger the world seems as I rapidly approach 50 and think about how quick time has gone by. I start thinking about what happened 50 years before born. Now I'm considering a 100-year span and it all seems so tangible. Then I start thinking about the 100 years before that and suddenly we're just a handful years from the Lewis and Clark expedition. Complain about prices. I kinda just hate everyone nowadays. I guess that's what happens when one deals with shocking disappointment from people getting screwed over time and time again. That's probably not how it is for everyone. When your peers start dying of natural causes and not just car accidents and drug overdoses like when you were in your teens and 20s. When I found out a good friend of mine passed away from cancer at 39. I got a nice slap in the face by reality. You notice your favorite band is having a reunion tour and didn't realize they had broken up in the first place. Getting a hangover after one beer. Truly understanding what MCR meant when they said, "Teenagers scare the living shit out of me." Classic rock includes Nirvana, Soundgarden, Smashing Pumpkins, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and other grunge bands. I caught myself flirting with a college girl's mom. Yup, that guy. Making healthy choices because the alternative is not worth the trouble. Eat birthday cake? No thanks. Sugar makes me feel anxious and shitty for days. It always did. But it took me 33 years to connect the dots. Wild Molly Bender? I dunno if I feel like 3 hours of bliss followed by a week of depression and low energy. It's been 84 years. Realizing that the year 2000 was not in fact 5 years ago. Time speeding up. Drinking sucks more and more. My husband and I went out last night and I had 3 beers with dinner. It was a long dinner because we watched the football game. But this morning I hated myself for it. Before I could have a 6-pack alone and be just fine the next day, no problem. But now, I drag ass smiling face with tear. Less patience for idiots. A Walmart worker called me ma'am. It hurt. But then I realized I was parked for grocery pickup. In my van. Listening to a podcast. It's happened. What is a clear sign of you getting older? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more.